Peter L. Bernstein, Wedding of the Waters, the Erie Canal and the Making of a Great Nation. Get ready to step back in time and discover the incredible story of the Erie Canal, a seemingly primitive 363-mile-long waterway that revolutionized trade in the early United States. In Wedding of the Waters, the Erie Canal and the Making of a Great Nation, author Peter L. Bernstein demonstrates how this extraordinary engineering feat bypassed the Appalachian Mountains, enriched the economy, and birthed an era of globalization and free trade. Unravel the intricate web of visionaries, politicians, engineers, and challenges behind the canal's creation, and gain insights into the transformative impact it had on the nation's development and international trade.
The Revolutionary Erie Canal. The Erie Canal, stretching 363 miles from Albany to Buffalo, was a revolutionary project connecting Lake Erie and the Hudson River. The canal was built by a team of surveyors, engineers, and politicians, and without this essential trade connection, the United States may have splintered into separate nations. The Erie Canal dramatically reduced transport costs, opened up the Western territories to settlement, and spurred national and international trade routes. The Bridgewater Canal in England, built in 1760, was only 10 miles long, but it included a 38-foot-high bridge that dramatically cut coal transport costs and led to a canal-building boom in England. In contrast, Spain's decision not to build canals contributed to the nation's economic struggles in the 19th century. The impact of canals throughout history highlights the significant contribution to technological innovation and the central force of trade routes to human history. Connecting the Eastern Seaboard. The book's summary describes the vision of early American leaders such as George Washington and Thomas Jefferson to connect the Eastern Seaboard with the Western territories via canals. Cadwallader Colden, a surveyor, was one of the first to envision a canal connecting the Hudson River and Lake Erie in 1724. Despite his vision, the canal wasn't constructed until half a century after his death. Washington also attempted to build the Potomac Canal Company that would turn the Potomac into a navigable canal. However, the company failed due to the river's steep rapids, shallow, stony sections, and a shortage of reliable workers. Both Washington and Jefferson feared that if the Western territories remained unlinked to the eastern states, the United States' borders would end at the Appalachians. The summary concludes that canals were the origin of networking in the fullest sense. The Erie Canal, a triumph amid political battles and skepticism. The Erie Canal, a 363-mile waterway, was built with public funds and faced fierce political opposition from supporters of a competing route. The canal's main backer was New York politician DeWitt Clinton, while the federal government rejected proposals for funding. The canal's construction was vital, as transporting goods by wagon was slow and costly. Despite skepticism, the canal went on to revolutionize transportation in America, generating over $121 million in revenue. The Erie Canal, a revolutionary public works project. The Erie Canal is a historic public works project that connected the eastern and western territories in the U.S. Despite facing various engineering challenges, the canal was successfully built, providing a more efficient means of transportation between major cities. The canal had a profound impact on the economy, paving the way for globalization and free trade. The Erie Canal remains an engineering marvel, having contributed greatly to the growth of the nation. The Erie Canal is a massive public works project that had a significant impact on the United States. The project was initiated in 1817, with the goal of connecting the eastern and western territories in the country. Despite facing various engineering challenges, including rivers, cliffs, waterfalls, and valleys, the canal was successfully built and opened in 1825. The engineers and designers had to overcome several obstacles, including changes in altitude, which required lifting and lowering boats a total of 675 feet in the 262-mile stretch from Albany to Buffalo. This was accomplished through a series of 83 locks, each about 90 feet long and 15 feet wide, raising or lowering boats 8 feet. One of the most challenging aspects of the project was clearing the thick forests along the canal's route. In one example of the spirit of ingenuity inspired by this project, workers invented a stump-removing device using several huge wheels, a chain attached to the stump, and a rope attached to a team of horses. The canal also had to bridge every creek and stream in its path, creating an airborne waterway in these areas. At the Genesee River in Rochester, the canal turns into an aqueduct that's 3 city blocks long. The engineers also faced a challenge at Little Falls, where the gorge's rapid-filled Mohawk River was unnavigable, so the builders were forced to construct 2 aqueducts to cross this part of the route. When the canal finally opened, it was an immediate success, cutting shipping costs dramatically and guaranteeing heavy traffic. Moving goods by boat cost only a fraction of shipping them by wagon, and the savings spurred commerce. With lower transportation costs, merchants found that it suddenly made sense to move a larger quantity and wider variety of goods through the new nation. The canal proved efficient for passengers who preferred a few days on a boat to weeks on the overland route from Buffalo to Albany. Before the canal opened, the trip took 32 days, but with the canal, travel time dwindled to less than 5 days, even though boats on the canal traveled at speeds of only 4 miles an hour. DeWitt Clinton championed the project, enjoying unprecedented popularity as the canal proved profitable and useful. The canal had the effect of turning Buffalo and Rochester into boomtowns, causing nearby rural areas to turn stagnant. The canal also hurt Canada's economy. Canada embarked on a canal-building boom of its own, but it was confined to the northern states, as the South didn't embrace the trend. The Erie Canal continued as an important trade route for decades. Even in the 1850s, the canal carried more freight than all of New York's railroads combined. The canal inspired the nation's first steam railroad line, which opened in 1831, carrying passengers from Albany to Schenectady. Still, the canal remained successful, improving in the 1840s and again in the early 1900s, enabling the canal to carry barges with a draft of 10 feet and a width of 25 feet. Perhaps most significantly, this massive public works project set the stage for an era of globalization and free trade. The canal greased the wheels of commerce not only in the U.S. but also internationally, cutting the costs of shipping flour so drastically, for instance, that a shipment could travel 2,750 miles before the transport cost exceeded 50% of its price. By road, it took only 130 miles for the transport cost to hit 50%. The canal even influenced Britain's 1846 decision to repeal the Corn Law, which placed tariffs on food, helping shift European workers from farms to factories. The Erie Canal remains an engineering marvel, having contributed greatly to the growth of the nation.
In conclusion, the Erie Canal proved to be a monumental achievement that still echoes through our modern world. It overcame countless hurdles, both logistical and political, and succeeded in transforming the economy of the United States and beyond. As a testament to the power of innovation, perseverance, and vision, the canal set the stage for an era of globalization and facilitated the growth of a young nation. Wedding of the Waters vividly showcases the profound influence transportation and trade have had on human history, reminding us that seemingly humble, long-forgotten projects can leave a lasting legacy and shape the course of nations.